of the Cost in Manufacturing event. We have with us Devesh Bharti, Rahul Arethiya, and Saurabh Suresh Kokil. So they will be the co-leads of this event, and they will be hosting this session today. So I would like to hand over to Devesh to first introduce himself, and then followed by Rahul and Saurabh.
Hey, hi guys. Good evening. I think this is the perfect time that we have caught everyone who is, manufacturing a Formula Bharat car. That is when we are most active. So yeah, good evening. I'm Devesh. I am also an alumni who has made some Formula student cars and all. And I'm currently working in Atomberg Technologies. We're a startup. And yeah, that's it about myself. Rahul and Saurabh, over to you.
Yeah. So, hey everyone, good evening. Myself, Rahul Arethiya. I've been part of Formula Student, like associated with DJs Racing in the past. And currently, I look after the operations and manufacturing at Karkhana Rotayo manufacturing startup. Yeah.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. This is Saurabh this side. So basically, I also come from an car Formula student background. So basically, currently working as an supply chain engineer in an textile industry. So yeah, basically part of Formula Bharat since 2017. So looking forward to have a great session. Thank you.
All right, thanks for the introduction. Devesh, you may now begin with the session.
Hey, hi guys. So yeah, the first thing that we want to cover is that everyone goes through. Cost is such a boring subject. Why do you want to do it? Why do it? And why do you want to spend our time, energy on? First of all, it's I think 75 odd or 100 odd marks that are there, or available points that are there. So that's first and primary agenda, because if someone does not do well about it, you can do better and score some good points in it. That is one. Second, well, the bigger major reason is cost is something that you will have to face each and every day of your professional life, which is, I'm assuming, 2 or 3 years down the line from now, or 4 or 5, depending on if you go for graduation or not. But this is something you can never get out of, and you will never be able to get out of, because that rules everything and everywhere what you do. Even the present laptop or mobile that you're on, there are dedicated teams who are managing the cost. And let me give you a spoiler alert, even engineers manage cost a lot. What Tesla has done with let's say Model S, Model Y, then Model E is a prime example of how they have started with a vision in mind about the cost. Because at the end of the day, if a technology is not affordable, sorry, if a technology is not affordable, if a technology is not able to create that efficiency and value, that means it is not mass reachable, and that means it's not really something that makes sense in the long run, or that really makes sense for even as a business case. Any company runs for profit. So now our cost event is a little bit different. What we expect from the cost event is understanding of all components of the vehicle. See, when we say cost, it's also about the processes, it's also about the prototyping versus production, it's also about if do you want to do this in-house, do you want to get it outside. It's also about the industrial experience that comes around it. So yeah, the cost event that you're looking at is a holistic view, and I think this, instead of design, this is actually the most accurate view of how things are done in the real world. And then everything that is there that surrounds it is that each and every component of vehicle, be it your vehicle or be it a Tata Nexon EV, for example, has certain processes, certain entire industries around it. I go to Chakan every day. I see Tatas and Hyundais and Mahindras and Philips nearby, and a lot of the names that I've never even heard in my life, but they are very crucial and critical partners to these all OEMs. They manufacture parts because they have done that in-depth study of each and every process, starting from, let's say, die casting or plastic injection molding. So understanding each and every component is something that is very crucial, and understanding what goes behind it. The second part is, when you look at that, the next question is the knowledge of manufacturing processes in and around it. When I say that, what I mean is every product, everything has a functional value or a functional requirement. So what something that is done in aluminum cannot really always be replaced with plastic. Some of them can, which is the efficiency. Some of them cannot be. So that is where manufacturing processes, knowledge is, and the tolerances around it, and the functional requirement comes into place. That is what also that what we want you to gain. And the third part is manufacturing costs. See, cost is something you would never be able to get out of. So let's say if I go on Amazon, there is Apple iPhone 14, if I'm not wrong right now. One seller is selling you at, let's say, 80,000. The other one is selling you at 78,000. Which one you do choose? Rhetorical question. Of course, the 78,000 one, because iPhone is iPhone. So if the similar things are available, you would always choose the one who's giving you a better value for your money. And value, one of the value proposition is cost. That you'll also anyways have to find efficiencies. That is why the things that you have in your hand right now, the world is so big that people have figured out efficiencies in each and every one of these places to make everything affordable yet be profitable. So that's why cost is heavily important. Make or buy decision is basically, would you go and make a shock absorber? Absolutely not at this point, no, unless and until you have done everything perfect in your vehicle, because that is not something that is your area of expertise. That is why you don't have to get into it. Let's say, or another example, a bit bigger hyperbole. Do you make a CNC machine by yourself just so because you want to have an upright CNC machine? No, of course not. That is best left to the expert. So this is the area where you have to trade off between, if there's something available in the market that runs reliably, do you choose that, or do you try and make something of your own? That is the make or buy decisions around it. Prototype and mass manufacturing. See, prototype is something you do in the earlier stage of cycle. You can Google it, V model methodology of working. That is what vehicles do. So you have requirements at each level, and then you match it with validations. So you cannot really go to mass production because a tooling would cost you 100 times more than prototyping. However, a prototype will cost you 100 times more than mass production part cost. So that is the difference. How do you choose between a prototyping and a mass production? That is what we expect and understand from you guys, that you will have an understanding. There are some areas you can just take as a mass production, that a nut and a bolt you would never want to go and get it CNC'd. That you will directly take it from mass production. You would not go and prototype it. But there are some areas that you want to prototype, and that is absolutely fine. It is the trade-off that you want to have. And the sixth bit is the industrial experience. All of this requires a precise knowledge of a lot of processes in place, a lot of decisions that needs to be done, a lot of understanding that how do you manage the entire project from a finance point of view, from a costing point of view, from a there's a rule of pi. If you feel that you will need 100 rupees to make your car, it would take you exactly 3.14 times the cost that you've envisioned previously. So industrial experience tells you, or lets you know, gives a hint, okay, this is how we have to manage things as well from a cost point of view, because at the end of the day, the money gets exhausted. You cannot do anything more about it. So in a nutshell, why is a cost even important? Because it's your future, guys. That's how I can sum it up. Next. Yeah. Rahul and guys, please take it over.
Okay, so as you know that there are like bomb, C bomb, D bomb, and so there are various segment in the cost event. So basically I'm not going to talk about the bomb, D bomb, C bomb, because it's a general and it's the same as per the last year. So speaking about cost understanding, basically like what we are looking around is like something which is related to the industries. In like what you want is like, let me make myself clear, is like we are not looking out for any fancy standees or like big documents or any like cut copy paste of from Google and like this. So we need to have like factual and like real industrial examples which you can relate to your car, taking any examples. So like there are few of the topics on the screen, like procurement, data analysis, risk management. These are the few topics which you can research on bit and come prepared, but this is not like the hard and fast questions or the topics which will come under cost understanding. So yeah, so this is basically an complete open-ended session where we will have discussion about various industrial practices, industrial manufacturing processes, and etc. So yeah, this is what basically is cost understanding. Yeah, I will next slide, please. Yeah, Devesh, about the real case.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Here, I would like to just add the specific rule change here is a real case scenario, which was earlier as well. In the real case scenario, we want the candidates to actually understand that there will be a topic given and you will have to do a real case. It's a very self-explanatory word. We'll give you a topic like FSG has given a real case scenario, which was all about total CO2 for one upright in kg. So what you have to understand is you have to figure out the entire row of things, what goes into manufacturing an upright, right from energy that is being consumed to by the time it gets shipped, transportation is also there. By the time it gets reached to the factory, what is it that the CO2 would be? So the emissions in CO2 would be how much it costs in terms of carbon. So when we do that, we need to try and understand a similar topic would be given. We'll not give the same topic, will not be doing about CO2, etc. But what we'll do is we'll give a similar topic and instructions, what is expected in a open-ended manner. What expectation we have from you is you'll have to prepare the topic in a in-depth manner to understand what is exactly asked of you, and it would be a time-bound activity with no fancy uh, calendars or fancy charts or graphs or something like that. We would probe you with all the information in detail inside that real case. How much do you know? Knowledge is there, not fun days, but exact knowledge, and that is what our questions would be based on. So real case will be given to you in the next 1 week or so. Next week it will be published, and we expect a lot of good work, because this is easy score that you can have just by understanding that topic in depth. Yeah, Rahul, you can take it.
Yeah. So team, there's just this real case thing has been added as a new change, and due to it, the scoring has been modified now. So the 20 points has been taken up from the cost and understanding part and has been awarded to the real case part now. So this is the new scoring that we will be having, and based on the prelims only, we'll be having the cost finals accordingly. And as Saurabh said, the most of the part of bomb, C bomb, and D bomb is pretty straightforward. We have some queries received from you people on those, so we will be answering those specific questions out there. And apart from that, like few quick things that you can take a note of, like as per the Formula Bharat rulebook, we need to get a hard copy to the event. Many times teams miss on having it, and just make sure the print that you have is like when you have submitted that particular document to Formula Bharat, it's not that you have made some changes and got a print last night, because we have a timestamp on top of it that is generally checked in few cases. You can have sticky notes for some good quick navigation, because many times we have observed that teams take 5 to 10 minutes just to say get onto that particular page where say they might have done some really good calculation, but it just they cannot find it when it is needed. Just make sure you don't gather judges around with with all the things that you will need to answer. You can have specific people who can answer it. And also it's a good practice that if you have multiple people, at least two people, if possible, who has an idea of things that are related to the cost event. So like if some individual is occupied, you don't lose time for that particular thing, and there is someone else who can answer that particular question there in time. So that will help out. And the important thing, like every currency should be in the euros itself. We have seen some teams getting the currency in INR. So as per the rule book, it should be in euros. So these are some things that should be taken care of when we are presenting the cost report to the judges. A few other things is like this is what we observe most of the times, that we have the in the CBOM part, we have the pricing that the suppliers or vendors give generally. We just have that for the explanation. So that is not something we are expecting. It's like everyone is an engineer over here, so you need to decode it out, that why that particular supplier is charging this much for a particular part or a component. What is the material cost that goes into it, what's the manufacturing cost that goes into it, and like how the supplier is arriving at this particular cost. So that is something that is expected out of it. So these are some of the things that shouldn't be done while we are having the cost event. So yeah, these were a few quick things that we just wanted to highlight. And now we'll just so we have a list of questions that you guys have submitted. So we will just go through them and answer those queries one by one. And then if time permits, we will also take up some questions.
And meanwhile, if you have any question, try and type it out in the chat box here while we are taking some other question. Some of us can reply on that.
So
Okay,
can you
so should
please?
we start on the like question and answers first?
Yeah,
So I
let's
will take up
in
the
the
first question. So
that
the first question goes like, what will be the nature of overall event? Again, a very specific, like generic question, like it will be the prelims will be taken online, after which the cost finalists will be decided and the cost finals will be taken on site. The cost finals format will be revealed at the time of the cost finals. So basically, this is what the nature of the event is. Yeah.
Okay, so next we have is like what mistakes should be avoided in the documents and the final offline event. So for this, two separate things. So for the documents, I think FSG rulebook has outlined each and everything there, like how should the documents that should be generally be provided. And in that few things I just mentioned in the do's and don'ts also, that we should that should be taken care of. The most common mistakes that I would highlight is basically having the currency in INR, having the wrong time zone. So basically editing the documents after they have been submitted to the competition website, then having the bills from the suppliers. So those things are actually not needed. We want to gauge like how good understanding you have in the cost and the manufacturing of the vehicle and in general the manufacturing industry. So that's all are we expecting out there. And the same goes for the final offline event as well. So there's no special preparation that is being needed for the final offline event, and no other documents that has to be presented for the final offline event as such.
Okay, so the next question is, what should be the approach for filling up the cost report, and what all things should be included in the documents? What are the common mistakes that should be avoided while filling the mistakes? So the approach should be approach for filling the cost report should be like it should be very, very realistic. So we don't want any vague values or just like saying that this is what the value the vendor gave. We all here are engineers, we will be working into industry, so like everything has to have a valid reason, valid validation, and it should be like realistic value. Common mistakes were already highlighted by Rahul. Yeah.
Okay, so we have what are the expectations regarding tooling and fixture costs in CBOM? So here in CBOM, basically we expect there's a detailed breakdown of the particular cost and like how it has been manufactured, what all the processes and the setups are being involved over there. So here, like if we are using any tooling and fixtures, it's better that we mention the costs for it, and we get an idea that how those particular things are manufactured. Since here there's no extra marks for the lowest cost. So this is we are not actually looking at, okay, that was the tooling costly or was the tooling cheap kind of, and do we need to amortize it with the number of parts. It's just that we are trying to gauge like how much does a participant have an idea that what tooling and fixtures goes into manufacturing a particular component. So that's all is expected out of tooling and fixtures in the CBOM part of it.
Okay, so one question was how to access the DBOM. It's already on the FSG website. There's nothing like separate segment for DBOM. It's just the segments which are included in the DBOM. We won't have the basically the cost part will be grayed out, and you need to only include the assembly and the tooling and everything. So the DBOM is basically a CBOM without a cost. So the tab for entering the cost and the cost remarks will be grayed out. Just another quick question. Fastener should be mentioned only in DBOM. That's correct. But if you want to have a correct complete BOM, you can include it in the BOM as well. But as per rules, it should be only in DBOM. Yeah, Rahul.
Okay, so we have it like, do we need to have create a separate document for the RCS? So for this, yes, we will be releasing a flyer over here, like what exactly is expected out of a real case scenario. But like it wouldn't be a very bulky document that generally we have for the cost explanation file or the cost understanding part of it. The exact details for it will be announced when, say, we are announcing the topic for the real case scenario.
And what we are looking for is answers to the questions that we have. You can have it in your mind, you can have it written in a document and everything. That doesn't matter at all.
Okay, so one more, like how to write a good comment while writing a cost report. So there is nothing like good comment and bad comment. So we are again looking at very realistic approach and a proper short and sweet explanation to why have you included that cost. If you are saying you need X euros for making an upright, you should have a proper justification for making it. And cost comment should make your life easy while explaining to us. So this is a good comment should be that it should be easy for you to explain to us how the cost is arrived. Yeah, Rahul.
Yeah, so we have what content should be added in the cost explanation file. So again here there is no, I would say, template kind of thing that is, say, required in the cost explanation file. What we are expecting out here is like how much understanding do you have for the like manufacturing of a particular component. So like I would say just a good way might be that anyways teams plan out that how they will be manufacturing a particular component. They do budgeting that how much cost it will involve. The budgeting also involves that which supplier should we award this particular part to, because is the logistics simpler from there, is it near to workshop. So those kind of things that you actually do, that is what is expected, and a very core understanding of how that particular part should be manufactured. For example, like 3-axis CNC can manufacture all kind of components, right? But very simple components, we can actually get it done on a normal lathe with few added processes as well. So what particular approaches you have taken for a particular component, and so the understanding around that is what generally is expected in the cost explanation file. And wherever for the CBOM part, like wherever we are adding a cost, so how have we arrived to that particular cost in detail, like the raw material, the manufacturing, if there is any powder coating or anodizing on top of it. So the detailed breakdown of how we are getting to that particular cost. Yeah.
Okay, so there's one question that do we need to present bills for each and every point? No. And as an if you are able to explain, the cost and it's logical. You don't need to have any justification for that. Difference between sub-assembly and assembly. Yeah, you can figure it out. It's very easy. Like it's a complete assembly. Like if you have like entire suspension as an assembly, your A arms become the sub-assembly. You can like judge on that basis. Yeah. I will again. Will RCS be there for preliminary rounds? Yes, it will be there for preliminary rounds as it is a part of scoring. As it is your first cost event, we will like to name all the things considered for filling the cost report. I think we have given you a very brief idea what you need to look around. Yeah, Rahul, you can move forward.
Yeah. So it's like when filling the BOM, do you have to include assembly process, fasteners, and tooling? So to answer this, so for BOM, we just need that each and every component that is present on your car that should be present on your BOM. So basically, BOM is a first-hand indicator of what, like the name itself suggests, like bill of materials. Everything that is on the car should be on the BOM kind of thing. So that is what we expect in BOM, and as we have seen in before discussions as well, in the CBOM and DBOM, we in the DBOM we expect a detail bill there, like what are the assemblies, what are the manufacturing processes that are went into it, and in the CBOM part of it, we just need to add the cost to it, like how have we arrived to that particular cost out there. Next we have is what all questions should we expect in the cost event Q&A. So I'm assuming this cost event Q&A is basically the cost understanding part of it. So here in the cost understanding part, we generally a couple of minutes in the start, we give the team to present us that what they have prepared, like what is their understanding of the costs that are generally involved in the building of a prototype vehicle and in general manufacturing. And after that, we have some specific questions. So for example, the slides that we just showed you, that it is around say procurement or the manufacturing assembly, that is around data analysis, the cost understanding. So there are these questions that generally revolve around the things that you have generally done while building this particular prototype vehicle, and to see how you can correlate it to the manufacturing in general. So say tomorrow when you step out into the industry, how do you think on those lines for manufacturing those particular component? So those type of questions we generally have out there. There's no fixed template of questions that we ask. Yeah.
Okay, so like there's one question: what are to be included in a complete document? So whatever, so there's a complete document is what is like. There's no again
Mentioned in the
no
rule book
complete
is the
document.
complete document. Whatever is mentioned in the rule book is the complete document. That's it.
Correct. Yes.
Anything that you
Yeah.
beyond this is up to the team, how you want to approach it. We are not, there is no bonus point or brownie points for any extra document in place. Only how you can satisfy us with your logic. That's it.
What should be and what should not be included in cost explanation file? To answer this, I will simply say whatever is necessary to justify your cost into CBOM is necessary is a cost explanation file. Whether it may be tables, your cost breakup, anything, but whatever is necessary for justifying your cost, which you have entered in CBOM is necessary for cost explanation file. Like, would you explain how to precisely do costing for costing and powertrain department? Like, this is what you need to figure out. So there is no direct answer to this question. You need to basically figure out and come up with a solution. What are the things to be included in cost report? We have already covered it. It's already into the rule book. Can you provide an example of cost sheet template? It will be very helpful. There is no standard template. Whatever it's in rule book, it's just template. It's just a template. So we don't follow any template. Whatever is there, it's on the it's completely on spot.
And
For CBOM,
to add onto this, the FSG tool does an excellent job of it. Start working on it, play with it. The earlier you start doing it, the better it is for you. You'll be familiarized with everything that goes on into that.
So for CBOM, while performing manufacturing process like lathe machine, do we have to include the separate cost for turning and drilling as well? Yes, yes, it do. You do need to include because it comes under the setup of that machining part. So whatever setup is necessary for making a part, you need to include it.
You have to
Uh,
see and approach it in a way that if you have to get it manufactured somewhere outside, a vendor would take cost for you for doing these things. If that is needed, you have to put it inside.
Yeah. So what all details should be standardized cost table include? There is no standardized cost table. Again, whatever is necessary to justify your cost is necessary in the cost document. So there is nothing as standard structure for cost document. Yeah. So I think query one are completed. Rahul, you can take on query two.
Okay, so like, are there any new updates in the format of the finals like last time? So, no, so far the the format of the finals is pretty similar to like how we have in the prelims as well. If there is any update, generally it will be communicated before the finals. But as of now, there's nothing. Then we need to show any kind of supporting material for cost understanding. What kind of data would they be asking? So for cost understanding, supporting material, exactly, it's basically what material that we are using. The cost for that is kind of required, or like you can show that. But as of like, no extra supporting material thing is needed, like any kind of data sheet or documentation. Those kind of things is not needed. Then any fixtures to be added in the cost explanation files. So if you can add, it's like well and good, because in cost explanation file you generally explain how did you arrive at a particular cost for any component. So many times we use fixtures for it, so that that thing can be mentioned out there.
Okay, so what do we write in comment cost while adding a part in that we have purchased? So basically, if it is a bought part, you specifically write it as a bought part, and you can like might as well mention the model number of the or the OEM part number that it is like whatever is bought, you cannot have one cost like specific cost comment for that. Do we many of the dealers do not provide GST? Is it mandatory to present bills? So again, it's not mandatory to present any bills or anything. We just need an factual and correct factual and logical cost explanation to your costs. Does every part have to be broken down into individual component? Damper part, sub assembly. So if it is a bought out part, as a damper is a bought out part, you don't need to break it into sub assemblies and parts and everything, because it's a simple bought out part. Basically, cost event, you need to include all the components which you guys are manufacturing and you guys are making it. So nothing for the bought out part. What all documents do we need to prepare for RCS? There is no specific, again we are emphasizing on this, that there is no specific requirement of documents other than the rule book. Okay, so there is, like Devesh said, there is no brownie points for any fancy documents. So whatever is necessary for RCS will be given in the announcement of the RCS topic. So you will get on the, what all things to be added in cost supporting. Basically, everything which is needed to explain your costs. The answer is same.
So here, I'll take a pause, Saurabh, and just tell everyone, rulebook is your friend. Please go and read the rulebook. Go and play with the portal. Understand how it works. All of these questions are very basic in nature. Saurabh, just skip all the questions that we have already addressed. We'll not be doing that because these are very basics, and it just takes 5 minutes to read the 4 pages of cost rulebook. First, please go ahead and rule the rule book. All of your queries would be answered, and if you have questions post that, we'd be more than happy to take it. We can just look at the next question that makes sense.
Devesh, there is one question like you will have to take up.
Right.
Different judges have like different approach. How should you? There's one question for that. Could you answer it?
Just to give you a brief of the question went on something like this, that my style of judging versus Saurabh versus Rahul would be very different in nature. How do we make sure that everyone is scored similarly? The answer is threefold. One, we try and have a template or a rubric to make sure that whatever we are doing has to be same for each and every judge. That is a very strong ironclad rubric that we have made, so that we are judging on the right criteria in the right specifics areas. That is one. Second, just after the first cost discussion, we huddle up all the judges and understand, we normalize how we have scored everywhere, and we keep on doing it after one or two sessions. We do it as an entire group first, and then we do it individually if we feel that we are we need another help. And there is one judge, one or two judges, typically the three of us, that bounces around in all these areas in different places to see that everyone is judged, everyone in the normalized fashion. And at the end, after doing all those things, we try and huddle up again to see and expectation management of everywhere, that we have normalized everything in the right manner, in the right place, and we are talking about the same thing in the same languages. So that is how we try and create a fair and just and normalized way of working, so that everyone is judged in the right manner. That is our primary responsibility as judges.
Okay, so there is one question. If we are getting sponsorship or part sponsorship of any part or a service, do we need to mention in the report? Yeah, so it's obviously you need to mention it into your report, because it's the part of your car. So you need to go out and understand the basic understanding of the component manufacturing process, and need to break down it into that, and like do a detailed cost understanding of it.
So few questions I see that are surrounding, like how exactly should we mention the manufacturing process around it, like how detailed it should be. So here, like I would advise, don't look at the cost event, or like particularly the bomb, C-bomb and D-bomb part of it, just for the sake of that event or the 100 points of cost event. The FSG tool is like, it's a pretty superb tool. I think everyone, you will come across it in the real life as well when you start working. So it's better, like the day you start preparing your car and you start into the manufacturing, if you keep it updated real time, it would be very helpful to you. And you can like make it detailed down as you want. Like you can add the different manufacturing processes that you have. So for example, in one, say, should we add just turning, or should we also add drilling and the inner turning on it? So why not? Like if you add it, it becomes a real good resource for yourself too, that how was this particular part being manufactured. Say when you do the knowledge transfer to the other team next year also, they have a ready-made resource, like how was any particular component on this vehicle manufactured, and the supporting documents provide then a real hand thing where they can see how it was actually manufactured, what were the costs associated to it, and they can also see some images or the CAD drawings that you have added out there. So think it from the point of like how useful it is, and not just from the point of like preparing it for this particular event.
Okay, so one question goes like, is the labor calculated from the point of view of mass production or a prototype? As a student, does it count as labor? So whenever you are making a cost document specifically for C-bomb, you need to look at it as an industry point of view. Like it's not like student making a car, it's sponsored and etc etc. So if you are making a detailed cost report, imagine if you are making a car, if you are a vendor and you are making a product, how will you charge for a labor? So on that ground, you need to come up with a base model of labor cost and include it uniformly into the cost report.
I think we have covered most of the queries, at least the unique queries that we have.
All right. Um, I also see there are a few queries coming in by the chat, but I'm guessing they are already covered. So what we can do is, to all those who are here in the meeting, if you'll have any more queries, please direct them to formulabharat@gmail.com, and we will forward them to the co-leads to get them answered. But please refrain from asking very generic questions. Go through the rule book once, twice, thrice if it takes that, but please, go through the rule book, see that if your answers are getting clarified, and only if not, then please send in your queries. We'll be happy to answer you. And I guess we can call it a day unless Devesh, Rahul, or Saurabh wants to mention anything before we end.
Yeah, nothing from my side, Crystal.
All right.
Yeah, so as Crystal mentioned, there are any other queries apart from this, we'll be happy to answer those. You can just share it over the Formula Bharat email and we will get back to you. And regarding the real case scenario, I think most of the questions were around that. So we will be having an announcement in a week or two. So Crystal will inform regarding that.
Yes, that's right. You will get a mail about the release, and once it is released, not only the topic but even the guidelines as to what has to be done and how to prepare for it will be up. So I think we can end the session now, and we wish you all the best. We wish you the best to all the teams, and thanks to Devesh, Rahul, and Saurabh for hosting this session. It was a pleasure having you all